Hey, Rupert.
Hello!
You got a new shirt.
Yeah!
It's very cute. Look, show the people what it is.
Yeah.
What is that?
You know what it is?
But I want you to tell me.
Okay. It's a helicopter.
It's a what?
It's a helicopter. You know the thing that flies and goes. A helicopter.
I thought it was called a helicopter.
A what?
A helicopter.
Well, I'm only 3. I'm not allowed to say. I swear.
Okay, well, that's a very nice helicopter.
It's a helicopter. Not that other thing that I can't say.
No, we won't say that because you're only 3.
I'm only 3.
Well, since you're here, do you want to help me make some candy?
Ooh, I like candy.
Yep, we are going to make a 3-ingredient recipe for toffee.
Toffee.
Yeah, have you had toffee?
I thought that was a hot drink that mommy and daddy would like to have in the morning.
No, that's coffee.
Oh! Then I like that.
Okay. Our first ingredient for any candy is usually
Sugar!
sugar. We are going to use 1 cup of white sugar.
White sugar.
White sugar, right.
You're expecting me to say something, weren't you?
I'm always expecting you to say. You have a lot to say.
Well, you know, I'm only 3.
You're only
I
3.
need to learn everything.
So we're going to start off with 1 cup of white sugar. Our next ingredient is
Butter.
butter. We are going
Not margarine.
not margarine, although you can use margarine if
Can
you
you margarine?
you can if you would
What's
prefer.
margarine?
Margarine is like butter, but it's made with vegetable oil instead of milk.
Oh!
Yep. So if you prefer to make this without any animal products, you can do that with some butter.
Animal product.
Right.
Animal products of animal?
Anyway, we're going to be using 1 cup of butter to go with 1 cup of sugar as well. And our final ingredient is
Liquid.
liquid. We're going to be using water.
Water!
Yep. We're going to be adding
Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle.
gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. We're going to be using 1/4 cup of water.
Yay!
Let's see how to make this. All right, I have my 2 sticks of butter, which is 1 cup, and 1/4 cup of water in the bottom of my pan. It is melting. I'm going to let this melt before I add the sugar because it will be easier for the sugar to dissolve. I've got this on high heat just to get it melted. I also have my candy thermometer right in the pan, and the candy thermometer, just make sure that it gets into the middle of your liquid that you are taking the temperature of, but it doesn't touch the bottom of the pan, because then it will be taking the temperature of your heat source instead of taking the temperature of whatever it is you're cooking, and that's going to result in it not giving you an accurate temperature. Now I've just reduced the heat a small amount as I am melting this down. Once this is all melted, I will add my sugar. Okay, so my butter is mostly all melted into the water, and I'm going to add my sugar. You don't want to bring your butter and water to a boil without the sugar in it. You definitely want to get this started so that it's all melted together by the time you get it to a boil. Now once this is all dissolved together, we are going to bring it to a boil and then reduce the heat and cook it until it turns to a dark amber color. This will take about 9 to 13 minutes. During this time, you're going to want to stir this constantly. I'm going to switch to a wooden spoon because this is going to get very hot very quickly, and even though this spatula is silicone and shouldn't melt, I just want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Okay, so as you can see, this is now boiling, so I am reducing my temperature. Because I have an electric stove, it takes a while for the temperature to reduce, so I'm going to want to make sure that I am stirring this constantly as it is being reduced to medium. Now, I'm about halfway through with cooking this, and one of the things that is very frustrating about candy making like this is that you think that you're making progress when it comes to coming up to temperature, but then all of a sudden your progress will stop and you'll think there's something wrong with your thermometer. Don't let that fool you. One of the things about candy making is that certain parts, certain ingredients in your candy can only come up to a certain temperature. When you think about it, water can only boil at a certain temperature, etc. So bringing this up to 300 degrees, it takes a long time before this will actually get past 250 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm talking about Celsius, of course, you'd want to adjust for those temperatures. So you're going to think that all is lost, this will never come up to temperature. As you can see, this is still just a honey color. This is just basically a bright yellow. But right after I started to think that I didn't have the temperature high enough, that I needed to boost my stove up a little bit, all of a sudden I saw the indicator on my thermometer start to rise, and then I will get stuck a little bit longer too, just before we get to 300. And also you can tell by the color of your mixture, the color of your liquid in here is going to change color quite rapidly. Now, because we have butter and water in this, we have a little bit more time. If you're making something where you're just caramelizing sugar, you only have a very short window of time to make sure that you get this the right temperature, otherwise it'll burn. The butter gives you a little bit more time, a little bit more leeway, but not much. So we are going to just keep at this until this is the nice dark amber color we're looking for, and we're up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, we're almost to the home stretch now. I'm getting very close to 300 degrees. This is another one of those bits where it seems like it will never actually come to temperature and the color won't change. But as you can see, this is now actually becoming almost like a pudding-like texture. Of course, it's much, much hotter than pudding would be. And the color is now a deep, deep honey color. And my candy thermometer is a little bit loose. The little thing on the candy thermometer is a little bit loose, but this is really definitely turning into more of a solid. So we're just going to keep watching this, and we will hopefully see it turn the right color together. So now I'm going to take this directly off the heat immediately because I do not want this to burn, and this can easily burn very quickly. And now I am just going to pour this into a sheet pan that I have lined with nonstick aluminum foil, and we're going to try to get that as evenly distributed as possible. Unfortunately, my stove is not very level, so I will be moving this right over to my countertop. I just wanted to transport this as quickly as possible. One thing that you can do at this time, we're making just basic toffee. One thing that you can do right at this time is pour some chocolate chips over the top, give them a minute to melt, and then just spread them out over the top, and then you'll have a layer of chocolate on top of your toffee. We're going for plain just toffee all by itself. And then once this cools down, we will crack it apart, and then we can enjoy it.
Buttery and yummy and crunchy.
Yep, this is very buttery, very crunchy. It is just, it's not, you want some more? It is not a quick recipe. This takes quite a long time. You can be at the stove for up to 20 minutes, and you have to. It is a long time. It is a long time, and you have to be stirring.
I waited a long time for the candy.
Yes, you did, Rupert. And okay, and you have to stir this constantly, and you have to monitor it constantly. So it definitely does take time.
It was sticking to my mouth.
It was sticking to your mouth. It definitely does take time and patience, but it's definitely worth it. And like I said when we were making this recipe, if you want to add chocolate to this, just melt some chocolate chips on the top, and we're all set.
Chocolate!
Yep. This is just plain toffee, though.
Plain toffee.
Yep. Did you like that?
That was very yummy.
Wasn't it?
Not hyper, though!
I know.
I'm very hyper!
You get a lot of...
I get hyper!
You get a lot of sugar with this.
Okay.
Yeah. So what can people do if they're all hyped up on sugar and they want to watch more of our videos?
Watch more of them.
Yep.
Share.
You can share these videos.
Subscribe.
You can subscribe.
Comment.
And you can comment down below.
And all those other things that I forgot.
I think maybe it's time for Rupert to have a nice, soothing cup of herbal tea. What do you think?
Not coffee.
Not definitely not
Not coffee.
coffee. So thanks so much for joining us this time. We'll see you again next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.